Welcome to RHI's Sociable City Interviews, where we meet with global thought leaders on nightlife and the social economy. Today we are honored to be with Vito Montone. He currently serves as Chief Operating Officer of ONUS Rides, a next-level responsibility program rewarding consumers of alcohol with ride credits to and from restaurants and bars, creating a safer community while providing purveyors the ultimate loyalty program.
Good morning, Vito. Nice to meet you today. I'm glad to have this opportunity to talk with you.
Thank you so much, Jim, and it's great to be with you.
So, I think in our previous conversations, you've had an interesting evolution in your life to get to where you are today. Can you kind of just talk about the stops that you've made in your life to get the background and the experience that you have?
Yeah, it's a strange story, like probably most people have. It's a bit of a path, if you will. My journey all started in architecture, believe it or not, and segued into the entertainment industry, and all along having the ability to create, which I applied to businesses. So I've been an entrepreneur pretty much all that time, and worked with large companies and small companies, developing programs, developing companies, and preparing them to launch, go into the marketplace. So it's a pretty diverse experience, from operational things to marketing to understanding the finances and the chemical reaction a good company gets when it gets started. And that gave me the foundation that my paths crossed with the founder of Honest Rides. And that's when it took this particular turn, if you will.
So you're not necessarily the person who started this. This was started before.
I joined the founder right after essentially, because one of the foundational things we do is try to discover how to solve a problem. The problem was posed by the founder. And we went through multiple iterations of what this solution can be from his viewpoint, basing on what he wanted to solve, and how we could use business to solve that problem. And so I was at the inception. It wasn't my instigation, it was his, because his history was success in business and also in alcohol retail. And he felt not so much just a kinship, but also a responsibility to how do I add value to the responsibility game, if you will, impaired driving reduction. And that's when the journey started. What kind of business could we create? How would we do it? And many iterations before Honest Rides showed up.
So how long have you been pursuing this venture?
I would say, it's funny, we all have the sort of blip of the COVID year. So you almost forget to count it, but it's at least 3 years, probably 3.5 at this point. And the first year was going through a number of different iterations of business models. What could actually work? Is it a nonprofit? Is it profit? What constituents are we putting together to do something different than has been done in the space? And I think of your history and the things that you teach about socialization in cities, safe socialization. Our concern was, how does the behavior actually change? Because the impaired driving world has, messaging about don't do it, and has enforcement to slap and pound people, but it's not changing the behavior. It changed the behavior greatly because there wasn't those messages. And so there's a big decline that happened. And then we kind of reached a plateau where what's going to change people's actual behavior? And this is where we started focusing on. And we came up with a way we believe could lead to that behavior change.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think every generation, in a way, behaves in the same way as previous generations, as if they're doing something new or different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, and and parents often believe that their children are doing things that they never did.
sure.
So I think it's just part of that cycles of nature. So the person you were partnering with, or that was the founder, when you said
Vishal
retail,
Vishal Patel.
oh,
Mhm.
okay, was it in when you say alcohol retail, was it selling what we say off-premise consumption, or was it a on-premise like a bar, restaurant, or nightclub?
No, it was off premise. It
Oh,
was
okay,
what you would refer to as a liquor store, I guess.
yeah, package store, yeah.
Package store. Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, that's it. That's quite interesting. That's a sector of the industry that you don't often see, engaged in this way. They're more, from my experience anyhow, it's more underage drinking focused. That's
Sure,
their
sure.
biggest
That kind of
priority.
ID checking and
Yeah, yeah.
training and things. But he came with the idea that he was quite upset about the number of deaths and economic impact that impaired driving, and this is before cannabis mixtures
Hmm.
on top of it, that was existing in the world. I mean, it's quite. I mean, it's not really, doesn't sound right to describe it as a business opportunity, but there's a whole huge industry trying to help this,
Yeah.
and it seems like to get through that plateau, it's not like we're inventing something new. I mean, to tell you the truth, Honest Right is a collection of existing ideas
Hmm.
built into a system.
Yeah.
So, the big brands on big holidays offer free rides to people
Hmm.
that, drink too much. But that's after the fact. That's not before the fact.
Yeah.
They do it a couple times a year, and everyone's thumbs up. They're a responsible company. There's governments and agencies all trying to convince people not to do it. And there's a massive effort on enforcement to teach people by lessons not to do it, right? So,
Hmm.
and it's a huge imposition on a person's life, even if it's accidental impaired driving, meaning they were unaware of it, not chronic. And so there was a room for something that we felt was a gap.
Hmm.
And, what we saw happen in the pandemic, which I sit on the Colorado Task Force of Impaired Driving, which has a lot of states join the calls. Sometimes it's 100 people on the calls. And so there's a lot of NHTSA data being shared, and that time period was quite bad. It's not really talked about in the press. I mean, everything went up. Deaths
Hmm.
went up, speed went up, accidents went up, and it's almost like not what you were expecting. But when you actually break it down, it kind of was a perfect storm. Not a lot of people on the road, driving too fast, upset about life, and everything just spiraled into bad results.
You would think that's true, and I think particularly during the early period of COVID, I think that people's anxiety level was quite high,
Yeah,
and it would only be natural that they would turn to alcohol as a way to cope with that.
coping
Um,
mechanism.
so, since you've been involved in this, how much have you been engaged with some of the more traditional impaired driving prevention advocacy groups or government agencies?
It's a good question. One of the things that we thought was really important is, especially we're not reinventing the wheel, is how do we engage with all the constituents? So there's, the large major brands, holding companies of alcohol. Then there's the restaurants and bars and tasting rooms and such. And then there are the government agencies and nonprofits like MAD and other local ones that are all, trying to help alleviate. They all seem to have their own little angle to it. And so we were trying to say, well, if we could put that energy, all three people's energy together, and help the consumers change behavior, could we make that happen? So,
Mhm.
why was it How long it took? Well, that's a lot of constituents to really learn about and to find, is there a sweet spot between them all? The balancing of responsibility, promotion, and safety. The consumer's at the heart of that, and the community is at the heart of that, and that's where we focus. So we would engage with those organizations directly, and now we have more national. When we were initially, it was, let's look at something local around Colorado. Could we muster these people together? Would they all play nice together? Mm-hmm. And ultimately the answer was yes. So now we, after COVID, took a step back and are really trying to have a more national viewpoint scope, and then attack a particular city with our ideas of changing behavior.
In a nutshell, compartmentalize just the approach.
Yeah, so very simply, we're a bridge between all three constituents and the consumer. So we decided on an app that was, in a sense, a discovery app that you could find places to go and places to enjoy, because it is about going out. It's not about going to a liquor store. And what did the restaurants, bars, and tasting rooms need? What was the national brands and holding companies allowed to do in that space? And offer additional messaging and data reporting to the government agencies and nonprofits. And so we found that sweet spot. So we created an app that has those components, and it's gamified, meaning when you use it and take safe actions like booking a ride, inviting friends, finding a place that offers additional ride credits when you go out instead of a free app, meaning an appetizer, you earned ride credits. So every time you use it, you're earning more and more ride credits, so that you never have to drink and drive. You just don't even need to use your car, and it's paid for. And this is the fundamental thing that we believe has the possibility of changing behavior. It's essentially free to go out. So yes, there'll still be people that'll say, oh, it's inconvenient, but is it? You right inside the app, we hook into Uber and Lyft. They are our technology partners. We don't operate cars. We operate the matching service. And we pass the credits from us to Uber or Lyft, for example. So that way, money doesn't touch, nobody touches hands, the money just passes along, and it's seamless. That was our intention, and we had to test it and prove it.
In terms of your business model, though, money is passing hands, but somebody has to pay.
Yes, sponsors, money goes towards ride credits, and a portion of that, a small portion of it, stays with us to operate the platform. We give some free services to the restaurants, bars, and tasting rooms, but once they realize the ultimate loyalty aspect of this app, they have opportunities to enhance that marketing at a much cheaper rate than they're experiencing in the open marketplace or in other apps that take a hefty percentage of their revenue. So our job was based on scale. So it's small little pieces that we cobble together to make the business run.
You said you've been testing it in different locations. You said you started it in Colorado, but where else have you been?
I don't want to be misleading. We got to the point of launching a test pilot, or what some people might refer to as a beta, in Denver, Colorado, December 19. So obviously we ran right into COVID. So we didn't do the fuller launch at that time, but we got enough data on how good can we market, what people will help us, and does the app work beyond testing, and did the consumers understand it easily? And those are the things we're very proud of, that we got the Denver Chamber of Commerce, Colorado DOT, the Brewers Guild, the Distillers Guild, and the CAVE, which is the Wine Association, all to sign on to help get the message out. And then when they downloaded an app, they were earning ride credits immediately. And we were able to reach in a very short period of time. The pilot was 10 days, and it was a 2-month ramp up. And we had 1.2, and we had a radio partner also. We had 1.2 million impressions, and we got just under 3,000 consumers engaged in the app. And they created, some of them created special insider accounts, and 44% of them were able to use the app and book a ride with no education or training. And some of them even found a secret in there where you could actually share ride credits with your friend. So we were very encouraged, with no customer service issue, no failures, that the app was, the UI to the app and the operations of the app, booking rides to Uber or Lyft, was intact.
Now, do people have to book the ride directly with, and then they have credits that they can add to their payment?
Well, it's much simpler than that. So imagine, well, it's not, it is simple, meaning you're opening your app, you begin earning credits just by opening it. And then you're searching, oh, I want to go out to this place that looks like they have music this tonight, or they have a special offer of some kind. And you say, I want to go there, and you create a plan to do that. And when it's time to go there, you simply click on the button, click a ride, book a ride, and you choose Uber or Lyft. And then it takes all that data, where you're going, what time you're going, and it including the credit, and transfers it to Uber or Lyft. So it just seamlessly goes app to app.
But I mean, what if I go a long distance and the ride is going to be $40? How much of a credit do I get?
You can earn unlimited amount of credits. We do believe, and did studies both on the average ride dollars for Uber or Lyft in a typical community or city where they're going. Yes, somebody's going to go really far and somebody's going to go really short. So it's usually $12, and it's quite easy to earn $20, $30, $40, $50 of ride credits, so that you would have some in your, quote, honest rides bank, if you will.
You know, every new venture, and this in particular is political in a lot of ways, and also just consumers' laziness to figure things out. So what kind of challenges have you faced in launching this whole campaign?
Actually, we've had more challenges in the industry than in the consumers. As I said, without even warning anybody, just start marketing the app, get that many people engaged and that many users already using the app without training. Most people are kind of used to using Uber or Lyft. So this is just another app that's in front of it to provide the free ride credits. And there's a lot of engagement all through society, old and young, using apps to do things. What we found really was much more interesting, which was getting restaurants, bars, producers, and the agencies and nonprofits aligned. That's much more difficult.
Well, obviously I've been involved in impaired driving prevention for over 45 years now. And my one question might be, and perhaps it's a fix, but if for some reason somebody's using your app and they're at a particular bar, is there kind of a limit to how many drinks they can accumulate during that period of time? That maybe we would have a limit of 4 drinks, and then they can't earn any more credits in that particular evening.
Well, they're not really going to earn credits at the bar. Most of the gamification is about searching, planning, sharing, making plans, things of that nature. Either direction. We're not encouraging them to drink, but we're also not dissuading them to drink. It's a neutral thing, because obviously the big producers can't encourage you officially to drink. And we don't want to do that either.
Well, I find this quite interesting, and then we got to conclude here, but
yeah,
It sounds to me like if I were to define what your service is you're essentially kind of a social planning app that basically is making it more convenient to consumers that are already making these informed decisions about not driving their own vehicle. And so the way that they earn the credits is more or less the social activity that they engage in and how well they plan it.
Exactly.
So that's
And
the way I understand it, rather than just a safe ride home program.
we don't call it a safe ride program. We don't at all. For restaurants and bars, we call it a loyalty program, because if they like your place and they're earning ride credits for other reasons to go there, they're going to keep going there. Second, it's safety, because we're trying to change the behavior, just the same way you teach, enforce, but there's no reward. And Honest Rides is the reward for searching and using the app to earn to earn ride credits, so you could be safe in your life and safe in the community. And it's highly sociable. It is about going out. It is about meeting your friends. It is about making plans. And so in some respects, we're quite symbiotic about caring about what happens socially in the location and city. And now we're planning a major metropolitan area pilot that's an 18-month pilot, so that we can get all the data and all the bugs out and all the marketing done and all the collaboration. We even have the military involved. So that's been moving that group of people is most of the work.
Yeah, well, this sounds great, and I appreciate your time informing me. I was a little misinformed, so now you have to clarify things for me and hopefully for others. And I wish you good luck, and I want to thank you for your time today, and I look forward to seeing your progress.
I appreciate it. I appreciate your platform and taking the time for me to talk more about it. And I thank you. It's been great to meet you and to support your efforts as well.
Okay, thanks a lot.